Let's talk about some underrated Christmas horror movies that you definitely need to watch this holiday season. I have a full list of the best Christmas horror movies to watch this holiday season, many of which are currently on Tubi. I'll link that list for you down below, but for now, let's jump into the underrated Christmas gems. The Christmas Tapes is a found footage Christmas horror anthology that centers around a family on Christmas Eve whose festivities are interrupted by a man wielding a gun who forces them to watch Christmas tapes. This is a low-budget, found footage Christmas horror, but it is so well done. The stories vary in quality, but overall I think they're pretty decent, especially the last segment, which stars Dave Sheridan as this paranormal investigative guy named Paranormal Perry, who helps a couple who've moved into a new home and they're experiencing paranormal activity on Christmas Eve. It's so funny and silly. It's just really fun and very surprising, and I really loved it. I think this is going to be a new Christmas horror staple for me. This is currently available to stream on Tubi. Xmas Tale is a Christmas horror from Paco Plaza, who's the director of Wreck and Veronica. This is set in 1985 on 5 friends who find a woman disguised as Santa in the middle of the woods. She has fallen in a pit, and they realize that she's actually a criminal on the run. She's just robbed a bank for a lot of money, so they decide to keep her in the pit until she'll give them the money. And it's a very dark Christmas horror story that goes in interesting, unique places towards the later half of the film, where the kids find themselves in an amusement park on the run from this criminal Santa. It's very dark, but it feels like a mixture of Stranger Things meets Deadly Games, which is another Christmas horror movie that you need on your watch list. This is also on Tubi. 13 Slays Till Xmas is another Christmas horror anthology. This one features 13 horror stories, but the stories are very quick. They get better with each one. So I will admit this one has a rocky start. It soon finds its footing a few stories in. The story wraparound is also really solid. It centers on a group of men who are in a bar and they're sharing scary stories, and each story focuses on something different. We have killer reindeer, killer Christmas trees, and a bunch of other stuff. It's very silly and over the top at times, and I think they do a really good job with the low budget, and it's just fun. It's just so damn fun. This is also on Tubi. The Leech is a horror movie about a priest who takes in a down-on-their-luck couple around Christmas time, and they begin to test his faith in various ways. This is very much a dark comedy that gets really dark by the end of the movie. It stars Graham Skipper and Jeremy Gardner. It's very low budget, but the cast is incredible, and it's just those awkward moments between the priest and this couple who are kind of urging him or edging him on to do unpriestly things like drink and get involved in drugs, and there's a lot of other elements to the story, and it just escalates to a crazy finale. And I think it's a very well done, slow burn, atmospheric, dark Christmas comedy. You can rent this one on Prime. Home for the Holidays is a made-for-TV Christmas horror movie from 1972, and it centers on a father who is on his deathbed, and he calls home his daughters for Christmas, and he tells them that he thinks his second wife is trying to kill him, and he wants them to kill her. This one has an incredible cast and one of the best atmospheres ever. It's constantly raining throughout this movie, and it's so moody and filled with dread. It's very dreary, and it's just a vibe. It's just a cozy, dark vibe. And there's a killer on the loose, so it's kind of like got a bit of slasher elements to it. You don't see a lot of the deaths on screen because it was made for TV, but I think it's a really interesting mystery, and it's just so well done. Red Snow from 2021 is a horror comedy set around Christmas time. It's about a romance vampire author who is staying in Lake Tahoe, and she discovers an injured bat near her home. So she takes the bat home to nurse it to health, and the next day she discovers that it's actually a vampire. So she starts to help this vampire and aid him back to health because he's being hunted down by this organization that wants to kill him. It's really fun, really silly. It's kind of got a little bit of a Lifetime feel to it, and then it changes to become a little bit darker, and I thought it was really sweet at times. It was really cute, and then it gets really dark. It's really fun. You can currently stream this on Tubi as well. The Sacrifice Game is set in 1971, and it follows 2 girls who must stay for Christmas break at their boarding school, and a series of killers show up and ruin their little party. This one is really interesting. It has one of the best openings to a horror movie. Like, that opening drew me in immediately because it's following this group of people who are killing people for the name of the devil. They're trying to resurrect this demon. So they're doing a lot of ritualistic type killings, kind of like the Manson family. I think the movie is very strong in the beginning and it becomes something different in the second half where it's not as strong, but I still was impressed by it. I love the setting of this boarding school and the characters themselves are really interesting, especially one of the little girls. And it's very dark, very bleak, very bloody at times, and overall fun. You can stream this one on Shudder. The Advent Calendar is a Christmas horror movie about a young woman who receives an advent calendar from Germany from her friend. Soon she realizes that each time she opens up a door to this advent calendar, it has a repercussion on her real life. This one I thought was a unique Christmas story on the advent calendar itself, and the advent calendar is really cool. It's like this antique wooden box and the demon inside is really creepy. I also thought it had interesting characters, like her friend who gives her the calendar is like one of the worst friends ever. It's kind of like be careful what you wish for type situation. Overall, I had fun with this. It's very dark. It won't make you feel good. There's also an animal death, so beware of that, but overall I really enjoyed it. You can stream this on Shudder. Await Further Instructions is about a dysfunctional family who are gathering for Christmas. They wake up on Christmas morning to discover that they are trapped inside their house by this mysterious black substance, and they start receiving instructions on their TV. And the instructions increasingly get worse over the evening, and they have to do kind of horrible things, and the family just kind of does them blindly, thinking it's the government who is out to help them, and in actuality it might be a darker force at play. I think that this one plays on the paranoia of being trapped somewhere very well and that mob mentality type situation. It was just really interesting, but it kind of falls apart towards the end for me, but I think it's an interesting concept, and the first half of the movie is very solid, and I just like the idea of people being trapped in the house and not knowing how the rest of the world is affected. So it's a very dark Christmas story. You can watch this one on Tubi. Rare Exports is one of my favorite Christmas horror movies. I believe this is Norwegian, and it's about a little boy who discovers a frozen Santa in the middle of nowhere, and it turns out that it's actually Krampus, and he sends out his evil little elves to do his bidding, and the elves are grown men, naked grown men, who just kind of kill people and get into mischief. This boy and his father and a group of few people have to figure out how to save their little town. This one is just really solid. It's kind of got an adventure feel to it. I love the little boy and his relationship with his father and just seeing how they all come together to defeat this evil. This is currently streaming on Tubi. Dead End is a Christmas horror staple for me. This is about a family on a road trip who are traveling to a family's house for Christmas, and they take a shortcut and they find themselves trapped on this endless road where mysterious weird things happen. It stars Lin Shaye and Ray Wise. It's incredibly creepy and atmospheric, and it's also a little bit darkly funny. I love the cast. I think that they feel like an actual family, and it's got that oddball sense of humor to it. It's just really fun. I love the idea of people trapped on a road in an endless loop because that idea is scary to me. It's so terrifying. You can watch this on Tubi. Anna and the Apocalypse is one of my favorite Christmas horror movies, and it's actually a musical, which is something I'm not really a huge fan of, but I love this one and I cannot watch it without singing along. This one centers on a group of high school kids who must figure out how to survive in a zombie apocalypse situation. It's about self-discovery, self-identity, breaking away from your parents' expectations and being who you want to be, and also trying to survive a zombie apocalypse. I think the songs are incredibly catchy. The cast is incredible, especially Ella Hunt, the lead, Anna. She's so charming, and I love everything about her. I love this cast. It does change tonally, where in the beginning it's very happy and cheerful, and towards the end of the movie it's very sad and depressing and you might cry, but I just feel like it captures the experience of being a teenager very well. It's also set in a fun zombie-like environment where it feels like Shaun of the Dead. There's some great sequences in this and I just love it. Please watch it. It's on Tubi. I Trapped the Devil is also an interesting watch. This one is about a couple who arrive at the husband's brother's house unexpectedly for Christmas, and they discover that he has somebody trapped down in his basement and he believes it's the devil. And this one is very much a slow burn, atmospheric horror movie where you don't see a lot. It's very psychological, where you're kind of questioning, is this guy crazy or does he really have the devil trapped in there? You slowly learn about this guy's mental state and what he's been through and just how the devil can mess with you in different ways. It's not as solid or strong as the other recommendations on this list, but I do think it's worth watching if you like those single set location horror movies with interesting characters. This one is available on Shudder. And there you have it. That's just a small list of some Christmas horror gems that you might have missed. I think that indie horror is really fun to explore because there are some interesting ideas. Some of these stories are very bold and creative. I think that they just don't have the budget, so some of it might not be amazing aesthetically, but I'm just always impressed by what small indie filmmakers are able to accomplish, so I highly suggest you check these out. Let me know what you think, and also, Merry Christmas, guys. Happy holidays. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.